Hi everyone, welcome to another video. Hope you're all keeping well. This is another request video for Oliver Gold. I've eventually got round to doing it, and don't worry, I will do Pendennis Castle as well when I get round to it. So onto the Flying Scotsman, which started life as just another of Sir Nigel Gresley's A1 class of locomotives, but is now considered the most famous locomotive in the world. How did it get there? The key facts about it was built in 1923 at Doncaster Works, costing £7,944,000. If you're interested in buying it now, that's around about £500,000 if you've got that spare. It weighs 97 tonnes, the length is 70 feet, and was officially the first locomotive to reach 100 mph and the first to circumnavigate the globe. It holds the world record for a non-stop run in a steam locomotive set in 1989 with a 422-mile trip, some of this which we will touch upon again in a min. So, where did it all begin? The Flying Scotsman was built in Doncaster, the first locomotive of the newly formed London and North Eastern Railway. It went into service on the 24th of February 1923 with number 1472. It was designed by Sir Nigel Gresley as part of the A1 class, the most powerful locomotives used by the LNER at the time. By 1924, when it was selected to appear in the British Empire exhibition in London, the loco had been renumbered 4472 and had been given the name Flying Scotsman after the daily 10 o'clock London to Edinburgh rail service, which started in 1862. The British Empire exhibition made Flying Scotsman famous, and it went on to feature in many more publicity events for the LNER. In 1928 it was given a new type of tender with a corridor, which meant that a new crew could take over without stopping the train. This allowed it to hold the first ever non-stop London to Edinburgh service on the 1st of January that year, reducing the journey time to 8 hours. In 1934, Scotsman was clocked at 100 mph on a test run, officially the first locomotive in the UK to reach that speed. The test run proved to the LNER directors that steam power could provide high speeds, negating a plan for the company to use diesel power on its high-speed services. LNER passenger locomotives had always been painted apple green. However, during the Second World War, the Flying Scotsman was repainted in wartime black, in common with all railway stock. After the war, it became green again and was rebuilt as a A3 Pacific. I got that out eventually. In 1948, British Railways was formed and rail travel in Britain was nationalised. Scotsman, now numbered 60103, was painted blue for a time, then BR green. It remained this colour until 1963, when it was retired by British Rail. By this time it had undergone several alterations to improve its performance, but had been pulling trains for 40 years and steam engines were becoming old-fashioned. The poor old thing were buggered. In January 1963, a fellow called Alan Pegler found a couple of pounds down the back of the sofa and bought the Flying Scotsman as part of the deal. Pegler negotiated a complete overhaul of the locomotive. It was converted back to single chimney condition and repainted in LNER livery. The tender was exchanged for a corridor type and an agreement made that enabled it to run on the main line. In a blaze of publicity, Flying Scotsman ran its last train for British Railways on the 14th of January 1963. In May 1968, on the 40th anniversary of the first non-stop run, Flying Scotsman travelled non-stop from London King's Cross to Edinburgh. In 1969, Flying Scotsman headed to the United States on a tour intended to promote British exports. The tour broke even in its first year, but the second lost money. In a bid to balance the books, Pegler arranged for the train to travel to San Francisco. The trip worked well operationally, but was a financial disaster. Alan Pegler was forced into bankruptcy and the Scotsman was stranded in the USA. Oh dear. However, fear not, because in 1973 the Flying Scotsman was brought back to the UK after William McAlpine heard about the situation in the USA. He promptly put together a rescue plan, paying off the creditors and buying the locomotive. McAlpine had the engine restored at Derby Works and kept it running for 23 years in his ownership, extensively overhauling it twice. He even took the Flying Scotsman to Australia, making it the first steam locomotive to circumnavigate the globe on its voyage there and back. While in Australia in 1989, it also set a new record for the longest non-stop run by a steam locomotive at 422 miles. Following a successful tour of Australia, Flying Scotsman ran special trains around Britain, including regular runs over the famous and fabulous, in my opinion, Settle and Carlisle Railway, and trips hauling the prestigious Orient Express Pullman train. The locomotive was repaired again in the early 1990s, at which time pop impresario Pete Waterman formed a short-lived partnership with Sir William to run the locomotive, and I'm sure they both did the locomotion together. In February 1996, businessman Tony Marchington bought the Scotsman outright for £1.25 million, like you do. In 2004, the Flying Scotsman hit the headlines again with yet another crisis over its ownership. A campaign spearheaded by the National Railway Museum to save the locomotive for the nation amassed the support of thousands, confirming its status as a national treasure. The appeal to keep the steam icon in Britain was supported by a £1.8 million grant from the National Heritage Memorial Fund and the generosity of the public. Its restoration was also completed with the help of a Heritage Lottery Fund grant of £275,000. From 2006, the Flying Scotsman underwent an extensive restoration in the workshop at Riley & Son Limited. In 2016, the painstaking £4.2 million project to bring the legend back to life, resplendent in the BR green livery in its guise as 60103, was completed. As the restoration process came to an end, all eyes were once again turned to the world's most famous locomotive. The next chapter of the Flying Scotsman story was its triumphant return as a working museum exhibit, conquering yet another record as the oldest mainline working locomotive on Britain's tracks. Undoubtedly one of the jewels in the crown of the world-class collection at the National Railway Museum, it can now be experienced by a new generation of Scotsman's fans and will captivate the public for generations to come. Can't understand what all the fuss is about, really, can you? Anyway, I do hope that you have enjoyed that, and especially Mr. Oliver Gold. You've waited long enough for this. If you have, please give it a like. Remember to share and also click on the notification button to never miss a fascinating video. I'd also like to thank everyone who has supported me for well over a year now. It really does mean a lot, and my channel's growing and it wouldn't be possible without all of you lot. So thank you very much. Take care of yourselves, folks, and goodbye for now.